Welcome back to another episode of NaytonTech. Today we're going to be doing an install video of this 88 to 91 Honda Civic or EF cup holder that I've designed and I am currently selling on my website. I'll put all that information below. This is one specifically for the hatchback and the sedan center consoles. You do need to cut off the front of your center console for this to fit, but it is extremely worth it. And I will show you how solid this is once it's installed. First thing you want to do if you are looking at purchasing one of these is you need to measure the width of your console just to make sure that it's the correct width. There are a couple different, like the wagons are quite a bit wider. So I recommend measuring that before you order just to make sure. About 122 millimeters wide, and that's at the top of your console. So the console I've been testing with is this blue one here that I got from the junkyard for $5. At the top here and here of the console is where you want to measure. If you're 122 millimeters, give or take just a little bit, this is the one you want to order, is the hatchback or the sedan one. What I've done on the console to keep this as functional as possible, I guess would be the correct terminology. You'll notice here there are a couple hooks. Let's see if I can get this to show up in the camera just right. Those hooks are for your shift boot. Since that was my test one, I'm actually, now that we've got a final product here, I'm going to cut my stock console that came with my car, the gray one, and get everything set up there. So we're going to be doing the whole install video for my personal car. A couple features on the cup holder. One is I tried to get this front curve as close to the stock design as possible, so we're not kind of changing a lot of stuff there, as well as not making it too bulky. We're probably only about 3 or 4 millimeters thick, and that's for stability and whatnot since these are 3D printed. You'll notice in here there are a couple fingers. These are to keep your stock console aligned, so that even if you do bump the side of the console, it's not gonna move inside here. You'll also notice there are 2 holes right here. These are for the LEDs, and I put these in a specific location. So there's one here and one on the other side, and these shine away from the driver and the passenger, so you'll never actually have an LED distracting you, especially at night when you're driving. It does use the factory mounts under the console, so you don't have to change anything. Pretty much you take your console out, cut the front off, you actually put the console back in and then add this on afterwards. So I'll show you pretty much how this, I made it just a hair of a tight fit because we don't want it loose. You can see here that all it does is it lines up perfect and slides together. You'll see how it follows the contour. Even the nice line here is dead on. So this is, it doesn't have any play side to side. I can't move it. The only way it'll go is apart. These couple of holes here you don't have to worry about. That was just for me on my first prototype to attach it. The only tools you're going to need: marker, some type of a cutting tool. I'm just going to use my little hacksaw here. I recommend either a caliper, digital caliper, or tape measure, so you can measure from, you're going to measure from the very front of the shift boot hole out. That measurement is going to be roughly 7/8 of an inch, or about, I'll actually do it on the caliper if you guys want to do it in millimeters, about 23 to 24 millimeters. Now the nice thing about this is there is some play. If you make it too long, it's going to be a little bit tight, but you can always shorten it up a little bit. The one thing you want to be careful of when you're cutting is that you don't cut off your 2 hooks. The easiest way to make it straight that I have found is once you make your mark, let me go ahead and do that first here. Make sure you guys can kind of see this. We're going to go 7/8 of an inch. Get yourself a straight edge, 90 degree. Mark yourself a straight line. Then to make sure that you're cutting straight down, just put your straight edge, eyeball, and then cut it straight up. And what you get is a line that's like that. That way you're cutting perfectly straight up and down to this part. So just put this on your bench. If you're on the ground, it's going to be kind of hard because you've got this lip, but try to get this flat with the 90 and you'll get a nice line there. And do the same thing on the other side. And then we'll cut it. So now we've got a nice line all the way around. Now for the fun part. And what I actually would recommend, if you can kind of eyeball it here. It's always so hard to line up with the camera. So you can see right here. We're going to miss that hook. We're going to be just in front of it, which is exactly what we want. So as long as you follow this line, you'll miss your hooks and you can still attach your shift boot. Time to cut. It's a little grabby. You can see here, even I'm gonna moved off that line just a little bit, so I'll probably go back and just shave that smooth. I've got a Dremel you can clean this stuff up with. There you have it. So we missed those, so I don't have to worry about that. What I did do on my other one, if you have a razor blade, this makes it really easy to clean up these edges. Just hold it straight against the edge, don't try to carve it, just hold it straight along it and just kind of pull it and you'll see it'll smooth out that edge really nice. Okay, so now the console should fit right on there. There we go. So now we're sit nice and straight. If it is a little bit too tight on these holes, just shave it down just a little bit more. Sometimes also these corners will hit just a little bit. You may just have to take a little more off of those because they will hit a couple spots that it'll hit. It'll hit here in the corner. If I can get the light in there. So it can hit in the corner. It can hit at the back of this little finger, or pretty much your two main spots. These two side fingers go back further, so you should never have to worry about hitting those. That's pretty much it. The LEDs will be inserted in here. I'm debating if I'm going to put a little bit of glue on them or not. I did a little bit on mine, and if you ever have to take this out, it would actually be nice if you can just pull the two LEDs. They're kind of pressure fit in there. But you can pull those two out and then remove this if you need to without having to actually unhook or cut any of the wires. I went ahead and put my stock console back in the car. Everything, you know, back here is all stock. What you'll need to do if you want to, and this is optional, if you want to run the LEDs, there's 2 red wires, 2 black wires. These are actually really tiny wires. Try not to get them hot. I actually messed 2 of them up. I was putting some heat shrink on it, got it too hot, and actually just melted these right straight through. So recommend if you're gonna, you know, tape them, do something like that, try not to get them hot. The place I bought these from also recommends not putting these on with hot glue. It's actually too hot. So just use like Elmer's glue, something like that is what they recommend. So your power wire you can run up to there, I believe it's a red and blue wire or a red and black wire, and I will post that below for the exact information on what wire to connect to for your power. And it comes off of your, you know, the bundle of wires that go to your radio. And then you can run the black wire to the chassis anywhere you want, wherever it's comfortable and easy to get to. Make sure both your lights turn on before you hook everything up. And then all we're going to do is put the console in. Put your 2 LEDs. I recommend putting it in here first. Pushing your 2 LEDs in as far as they'll go. Then you just set this down over the console. Pitch in there like that, slide it forward. And then when you put your screws in on the side, just make sure you hold it down nice and tight. Tighten up your screws, and that's it. And before you get everything done, flip the lights on, make sure both of them are working, and then tighten her down. Now that we've got it installed, and all it is those 2 front screws, you can see both LED lights work, and they shine away from the driver. So if you're sitting from here, the LED will never get in your eyes. So it's over here. And you also notice how sturdy this is. It does not move. That's it for all you need to do to install this guy. And enjoy it after that. See you next time.